Hi, everybody. This is Thomas. This is a space that I call Collaborate with Thomas, and this is our very first episode, so welcome. I'm sitting on my porch here in North Carolina. It's August 1st, 2023, and mostly I'm just listening to the crickets. I have a little dog at my feet. You might hear a dog bark or people pass by walking occasionally. I'm not yet 60, but I'm approaching it. And I'm a teacher turned life coach. Most of my years as an employee, I was a teacher. I did also work for a couple of businesses over the years, but most of those years were a teacher. I started out in a high school English classroom, and over the years became fascinated with human development and how people learn. While I love curriculum, I became more interested in well-being and consciousness or awareness, if you will, to a point that I felt as if maybe our schools are not teaching some of the things that are most important to have a successful life experience, or just to be a good person, good citizen, get along well, and have a good night's sleep and not worry. Instead, our schools often teach to the tests and uh, promote messages that inadvertently perhaps leave students feeling that they're not enough. Anyway, over the years, I worked with a lot of individuals, a lot of students, and even their families. And I felt that a natural progression for me would be to migrate into this world of life coaching. I thought about going back to school and perhaps becoming a psychotherapist, a counselor. And actually, my spouse, my wife, is a counselor here in North Carolina. Over the years, I've watched her work, and I'm fascinated by that whole body of work. And life coaches actually do a lot of the things that counselors can do, except they don't get into mental health, significant disorders, and such. So, life coaches don't do therapy. I wouldn't do therapy. I would refer someone for that expertise. But as a life coach, we work with people who are in transition, trying to make a decision, maybe just want to figure out ways to feel as though they're leading a life that's more on target with living authentically. There's a whole host of possibilities with life coaches and a whole range of reasons why people might feel more comfortable working with a life coach instead of a counselor. Anyway, this being our first episode, I asked myself where might be a good place to start. And in my own life journey, especially for the last 10 years or so, there's a quote from Socrates that's been really helpful and meaningful for me. And I would see it ubiquitously through memes. I don't know. Do you ever have that experience where you start seeing the same thing over and over again, randomly, it seems? Well, I had that experience with this quote from allegedly Socrates from the 3rd or 4th century BC. And he allegedly said, true wisdom begins in realizing that you know nothing. True wisdom begins in realizing that you know nothing. Now, what did Socrates mean? I'm not sure, but I've explored and I've self reflected for years, and probably well beyond episode 1, we'll refer back to this point, to this reference, and we'll go a little deeper in time. But in a nutshell, to me, Socrates was pointing at the difference between really knowing something and simply having a perspective. You know, we're all born in a unique time and place, and there we are, and we go forward. And as we choose our path, everywhere we go, everything we learn, the experiences we have, it's all a download onto our computer up here, right, in our mind. And then from that source, we continue to go forward and make decisions that we um, would think at the time of the action would be in our best interest. We make plenty of mistakes, but and we learn and we keep going forward. We keep adding to our perception. But I think Socrates is pointing out that it would probably be a big mistake to think we're right, to think we actually know something, and to get lost in that limitation. Whoever you are, wherever you traveled, however smart you are, you and I, we only have such a small glimpse at the larger picture. So for a number of years, in recent years, I've been going about my life a little bit more deeply aware that I don't know anything. And yet I have all my experiences. I love learning. There's great value in that. And yet I've also experienced at the same time that there's a gift in going deeper in your awareness, that you don't know so much after all. And that gift can be the release of needing to be right, which some people might call ego, and maybe giving up beliefs. Now, language is a funny thing. When I say the word belief, you could think I'm talking about one thing when I'm actually referring to another. But just to complete my original thought, as I started practicing putting Socrates' quote, "True wisdom begins in realizing that you know nothing," as I started to put that into practice, reminding myself that on a daily basis, letting go of old beliefs, I really found the burden was a bit lifted, the burden of life, if you will, the needless burden of life. Life doesn't have to be burdensome. So what was left is what I will call a deeper faith, which I'm using a word, faith, just to mean I don't know. I'm going to do the best I can with what I see, but I'm not going to believe my perception necessarily. I'm going to use it as my main reference point, but I'm going to stay open-minded, right? So the reason that I wanted to begin with this point is that when I work with clients, regardless of what they come wanting to work on, I often like to take people back a few steps. Let's back up and look at how attached we are at our beliefs. Does it really have to be that way? Does it have to be that way because what you believe is 100% true? There could be no other reality. You actually have that much of a grasp on what reality is? No, I don't think any of us do. But our life journeys can be wonderful exercises in going deeper and deeper into realizing that reality. And there's an irony in that maybe a good way to start doing that is to surrender or to give up what we think we know is true. It doesn't mean abandon it. It just means use it as a reference point and not so much an identity. This is a lot to go into. and this is only episode 1. I hope to have 10,000 episodes. I hope to have many years of doing this and getting to know a lot of people and hearing their stories. I love doing that. It honors me when people reach out by email or in any way that I can help out. I love to be a witness to other people's stories and be a part of their journey if I can. If you'd like to reach out sometime to me, my email address is collaboratewiththomas@gmail.com. And I have a simple website if you'd like to check it out. It's collaboratewiththomas.com. Yeah, that's simple. So, thanks for joining me. I look forward to doing this again soon. Peace be with you. Bye bye.